Right friends, welcome back to Learning Space. This is a quick wrap up. This is the second module. All the 16 modules will be available both in Learning Space Digital and YouTube channel. Let us start with the second module. First one is COMCASA, and this is Indianized version of SISMO. United States of America has got several foundational agreements. One is the LEMO, that is Logistics Exchange Memorandum of Agreement, and that is for using each other's facilities. That was already signed by India, and recently, that means last year, India signed COMCASA, and India is acquiring several advanced systems from United States of America like Poseidon 8I. Yet present, that means before signing of COMCASA, the problem is various commercially available communication systems are used in these highly advanced equipment. But with the signing of COMCASA, now India can get encrypted communication systems from United States of America. So friends, this is the beauty of COMCASA. Please do not forget, right? So United States of America can transfer specialized equipment for encrypted communications, right? Having learned about COMCASA, CATSA law is basically to punish countries like Russia, Iran, North Korea when the third party, suppose India or Indian company, is having transactions with the entities in these countries, sanctions can be imposed. That is CATSA. So friends, when people are talking about United States of America, please do not forget COMCASA and CATSA. CATSA law of United States of America facilitates imposing sanctions on the entities which will have dealings with countries like Russia, North Korea as well as Iran. I hope you got clarity. Then INF Treaty. United States of America came out of this INF Treaty. Friends, INF Treaty was signed in 1987. It was a bilateral treaty between Russia and the United States of America. That means in those days it was the Soviet Union. Soviet Union and United States of America, it was a bilateral treaty. United States of America came out of this INF Treaty. INF Treaty banned land-based, please listen carefully, land-based only ballistic cruise missiles and missile launchers. It has not banned this nuclear warheads. It banned land-based ballistic cruise missiles in the range of 500 to 5,500 kilometers range. This is about the INF Treaty. This is important because United States of America came out of it. Next important aspect is there is one treaty available between Russia and United States of America, that is a New START, which is coming to an end in 2021. Please do not forget. And it limits nuclear warheads by both the countries. I hope you got clarity. Then NASAMS 2. This is proposed. This is the missile shield. This is proposed for the national capital. NASAMS 2 belongs to United States of America. Please don't forget. Then USA came out of several pacts or expressed its intention to came out of several pacts. Please do not forget Trans-Pacific Partnership. After United States of America came out of TPP, literally Japan is leading it. And please do not forget RCEP, that is the grouping of 16 countries led by China. And when the grouping was proposed with 16 countries, when India came out of it, then 15 countries remained in RCEP. So friends, RCEP has got 15 countries. Then the modified Trans-Pacific Partnership, that has got 11 countries. Please don't forget, right? So friends, this may not be that important. United States of America decided to come out of various pacts. Then Russia. When people are talking about Russia, 3-4 important aspects don't forget. One is Triumph S-400 defense missile defense systems. Friends, these are proposed to be procured or you can say India already decided to procure 5 numbers from Russia, and it is not clear whether United States of America will be waiving from the sanctions under CATSA. It is still not yet clear. From your exam perspective, please do not forget this Triumph S-400 missile defense systems that belongs to Russia. Then this Avangard. Russia launched Avangard. This is hypersonic glide vehicle. Friends, I am going to discuss about India's experiment in the S&T section a short while from now as far as hypersonic vehicle is concerned. Right friends, this Avangard, this belongs to Russia. It launched this hypersonic glide vehicle. Then this Russian floating nuclear power station that was in the news, that is Academic Lomonosov, please don't forget. And friends, Russia annexed Crimea, and prior to that it belongs to Ukraine, please do not forget. And at the same time, this Sea of Azov that is connected with the Black Sea through the Kerch Strait. From your exam perspective, Kerch Strait is also important. Then Japan, that is pacifist constitution. What is the meaning of pacifist constitution? The meaning is it renounces war and use of force as means of settling international disputes. So as Japan Prime Minister decided to resign this pacifist constitution, this comes to my mind. Students must have clarity, right? Then Quad. Japan is associated with quadrilateral, that is the security grouping involving 4 countries. One is United States of America, India, Australia, Japan. Then another important aspect is Japan proposed this Asia-Africa growth corridor along with India and African countries. Right friends? United Kingdom came out of European Union. Now European Union is left with 27 countries. For some time this backstop was in the news. Backstop was the mechanism which was in the news, basically from the perspective of how to maintain open borders between Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland. Northern Ireland, please do not forget, that is part of United Kingdom, and a free border exists between Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland. Friends, I talked a number of times Idlib province, that is quite often in the news because of the crossfire between rebel forces and the government forces that pertains to Syria. Then Thais. This is quite often in the news, that is Yemen. Yemen is into the civil war. When I am talking about Yemen, please do not forget Houthi rebels. They are quite often into the news. Friends, when I am talking about Nigeria, please do not forget Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab, Somalia. These are important from your exam perspective. Then this Uyghurs. Uyghurs, Turkish origin Muslims. They are in the Xinjiang province of China. They are quite often in the news. Kuril Islands, they are bone of contention between Japan and Russia. Please do not forget. Yesterday I talked about certain islands, that is Spratly Islands, Paracel Islands, right? Then certain regions, they are under dispute, and one thing comes to my mind is Bougainvillea Island. Please do not forget Bougainvillea, which asked for independence, right? And it pertains to Papua New Guinea. Please don't forget Bougainvillea, Papua New Guinea. And look at these regions. Catalonia, there is a long issue of separating, or you can say independence for Catalonia, and that pertains to Spain. Then this Mindanao region, this is of Philippines, please don't forget. Then Oromia region, this belongs to Ethiopia. Then Jubaland, this is in Somalia, don't forget. This is Jubaland, Somalia. Then this Al-Fashqa region that returned to Sudan sovereignty. Right? There was a dispute between Sudan and Ethiopia, and recently, around 4 or 5 months ago, this Al-Fashqa region that returned to Sudan sovereignty. So this is one important aspect. So friends, from your examination perspective, Jubaland, please don't forget Somalia. Then Al-Fashqa region, that returned to Sudan sovereignty. Friends, GERD, that is Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, that is in Ethiopia, that is being constructed on Blue Nile, and it is not palatable to Sudan as well as Egypt. They feel that their water resources may be threatened. Please do not forget, Nile River is formed by merging of Blue Nile and White Nile. Please don't forget. Look at the next one. Certain aspects pertaining to economy. Friends, imports of vegetable oil. Total vegetable oil imports are around 15 million tons. Our domestic production is around 10 million tons. Friends, out of this 15 million tons, around 9 million tons is palm oil. When I am talking about palm oil, you should not forget, globally, the largest producer of palm oil and exporter is Indonesia. Please do not forget. We predominantly get palm oil from two countries, Indonesia and Malaysia. Please do not forget. Friends, if you look at vegetable oil, during the past decade, they increased substantially. But during the past 2-3 years, they are almost stable. But during the past decade, they increased substantially. This is the point. And vegetable oil, that is the commodity, or you can say largest agriculture imported commodity. Please do not forget. Right? And as we have seen yesterday, as far as agriculture is concerned, or you can say agriculture imports, exports are concerned, India is in general net agriculture exporter. But the point to note here is, in recent times, the agriculture surplus, that is reducing. This is the important point to note. Right? India is net agriculture exporter, but that agriculture surplus, that is shrinking. Right? Then gold. During the past decade, we faced the problem of gold imports, because when gold is imported, then it results in huge foreign exchange outgo. The important aspect to note here is, it is non-essential import. During the past decade, if you see, around 2015, around 2016, we faced a huge problem of gold imports. So from your preliminary perspective, during the past decade, gold imports increased enormously. But during the past 2-3 years, they are showing declining trend. Especially during the past 2 years, gold imports are seeing declining trend. This is important from your prelims perspective. Friends, crude oil. During the past decade, domestic crude oil production, that is declining. Very important aspect. And the import dependence on crude oil, that is increasing. Friends, our import dependence on crude oil is around 85 to 87%. Then if you look at the natural gas, there is a serious problem of domestic pricing policy. Whatever the reason, the natural gas production is also seeing decline. I am talking about domestic production, and import dependence is increased. Friends, as far as this natural gas is concerned, import dependence is around 50%, whereas crude oil is concerned, import dependence is around 85-87%. One important aspect, please do not forget, this both the crude oil, both natural gas, they are on the declining trend during the past decade. This is the important aspect. Foreign direct investment, this is showing increasing trend. You need not worry much about the foreign direct investment as far as total quantum of flows are concerned. Right? In recent times, foreign direct investment maximum is coming from Singapore. Please don't forget. Please listen carefully. In recent times, maximum foreign direct investment is coming from Singapore. But during the past 15-20 years, if you add cumulatively, maximum foreign direct investment came from Mauritius. This is the important aspect, don't forget. Another important aspect is foreign portfolio investment, where the investments come directly into the stock market. That maximum is coming from United States of America. These things are important. Then another important aspect, please don't forget, most of the foreign direct investment is into the brownfield development, but not greenfield. Because of that reason, job creation is not on the expected lines. Maximum FDI is coming into services, don't forget. Then India's largest export destination is United States of America, please don't forget. India's largest export destination is United States of America, right? And second largest is China, don't forget. As far as imports are concerned, we are getting maximum imports from China, please don't forget. So these two things, please do not forget. And trade surplus with USA. We are having trade surplus with USA. That is what Donald Trump always says. You are imposing high import duties on certain products and you are having trade surplus. That's what Donald Trump says. Please do not forget. Trade surplus with United States of America is reducing during the past 2-3 years. And we have huge trade deficit with China, and that trade deficit is also reducing. These two things, please do not forget. And third thing, which I told you in the yesterday's class probably, that is with the countries which India signed free trade agreement. That means in general, please don't forget, free trade agreements have not benefited India. India signed free trade agreement with several countries including ASEAN around 10 years ago. Because of free trade agreements, India not benefited because exports not increased much. In some cases, exports are almost stagnant, but imports from those countries increased. Precisely that is one of the reasons why India backed out of RCEP. There are other reasons also, but this is one reason, along with the dairy products expected from countries like Australia, New Zealand. Then GDP growth falling continuously. Sometimes UPSC, in fact, fancy about what happened during the past decade, past 5 years, something like that. If you look at the GDP growth, it increased to 8.5 in 2010-11. After that, it has fallen. After that, it has increased. Now it is in the falling trajectory for the past 3-4 years. In fact, quarterly GDP, that is on the falling trajectory during the past 8-9 quarters. The recent quarter, because of COVID-19, there is a shrinkage of around 24% in the GDP. Most of you are well aware, right? And another important aspect here is, this is the trajectory of GDP growth, falling from 8.3 to 7, 7 to 6.1, 6.1 to 4.2. Last financial year, GDP growth was 4.2, and this year it is expected to be around -5 to -10% because of COVID-19. So friends, if you look at the trajectory of GDP growth during the past 10 years, in 2010-11, it was 8.5. It has fallen subsequently, has risen subsequently to 8.3, subsequently on the continuous downward trajectory. Another important aspect is, during the past 8-9 quarters, GDP is falling, right? Fiscal deficit. In fact, in general, you can say during the past 10 years, fiscal deficit is on the downward trajectory. Around 10 years ago, fiscal deficit was around 6% or so. It has fallen somewhere between 3 to 4%. It hovered in between 3 to 4% for around 2-3 years. Subsequently, it started rising. Last year, 2019-20, it was 4.6% or so. So this year, it is expected to be much higher. So friends, from your examination perspective, during the past 10 years, the fiscal deficit has down from around 6%. If you go back to around 2010 or so, it was around 6%. It has fallen to somewhere between 3 to 4%. It hovered between 3 to 4% for around 2 years, 3 years, something like that. After that again it started increasing. Last year 4.6%. This year it is expected to be much higher because of COVID-19. Foreign exchange reserves have seen record now. I discussed yesterday. The reason for this is increase in the gold value, or you can say gold reserves, then foreign investment flows, decrease in the imports in recent times because of COVID-19. These are all some of the reasons as far as foreign exchange reserves are concerned. Then current account. Normally there is current account deficit. For the past several years, current account is in deficit. Of course, that deficit is varying. It reduced, later on increased to around 2.5% or so. Later on it decreased. Like that, there is no continuous trend as far as current account deficit is concerned. During the past decade, every year we are in continuous current account deficit. Please don't forget. That is varying, right? Second important aspect is after several years, if you look at the quarterly figures, please listen carefully. Quarterly figures. If you look at the quarterly figures, not yearly figures. If you look at quarterly figures, one quarter we got current account surplus recently. Friends, trade balance, that is mercantile trade deficit, that is always there in recent times. But in one particular month, in COVID-19 situation, we got this mercantile trade surplus for only 1 month. These things are important. Then friends, recently government revised priority sector lending guidelines. I have already told you yesterday, priority sector lending, normal banks 40%. Then of course, small finance banks 75%. Urban cooperative banks 75%. These type of this PSL rules and regulations are there. And now some changes were brought last week. What are these changes? Startups up to rupees 50 crore loans, or you can say startups up to rupees 50 crore, they come under priority sector lending. Not only that, solarization of grid connected agriculture pumps and compressed biogas plants, or you can say CBG plants, they will come under priority sector lending. These points are very important. Solarization of grid connected agriculture pumps, then compressed biogas plants, they come under priority sector lending guidelines. Then higher weightage for incremental PSL in 184 districts, because across the country the flow of this lending, that is not uniform. So therefore, to give incentives, some sort of weighted average methodology was brought by Reserve Bank of India. Higher weightage for incremental PSL in 184 districts, basically to correct the anomaly of credit flow in some of the districts, but priority sector lending not touching on the expected lines in other districts. Right friends, these are about economy. Tomorrow we will discuss some more aspects pertaining to economy, policies and programs. Mahatma Gandhi Narega, let me talk about it. Mahatma Gandhi Narega rules and regulations, they are important because Mahatma Gandhi Narega, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, these are quite often in the news in recent times. If you look at Mahatma Gandhi Narega, please don't forget 100 days that is to be given, or you can say demand driven work of 100 days. In certain circumstances, 50 more days can be given. That is, in case of drought and other circumstances, 50 days more, 100 plus 50. Second important aspect is, as per Mahatma Gandhi Narega, 1/3 must be women, but at present, around 50% are women. Then social audit, very important, social audit is to be conducted by Gram Sabha every 6 months. And another important aspect is 60% productive assets at district level. Friends, by taking district as the unit, 60% must be for productive assets, right? Then another important aspect is work within 15 days. So whenever anybody is demanding for work, it is demand driven, then work must be given within 15 days. Otherwise, allowance, or you can say compensation is to be paid by the state government. So friends, it is mandatory to give job like this work, that is within 15 days. Then wages are to be paid within 15 days. These things are very important. Then 100 plus 50 days I have already told you. Then another important aspect is the wages in every state are different. Please listen carefully. As far as Mahatma Gandhi Narega wages are concerned, in every state they are different. They are based on CPI-AL index for the month of December, and these are revised every year by the center. They differ from state to state, and from April 1st revised wages comes into picture, and this Mahatma Gandhi Narega wages are generally lesser than the minimum wages available in those particular states. And please do not forget, this Mahatma Gandhi Narega wages are revised every year from April 1 based on the CPI-AL. Please do not forget, CPI-AL is released by the Labour Bureau, and based on the December index, these are revised. But now the center said in future some other index will be brought, that is CPI rural, that will be brought shortly. After that, that will be based on that index. Another important aspect about Mahatma Gandhi Narega, please don't forget, annual expenditure. During the past 5-6 years, if you see, the annual expenditure is hovering between 0.3% of GDP to 0.4% of GDP. This is most important aspect. During the past several years, it is hovering between 0.3% of GDP to 0.4% of GDP. And another important aspect, please do not forget, instead of 100 days, on an average, the demand-driven work provided to the adult individual, that is coming to, on an average, 40 to 50 days. Please do not forget these two things. As I have already told you, several important aspects about Mahatma Gandhi Narega. 1/3 women, social audit by Gram Sabha every 6 months, 60% money for the productive assets taking the district as a unit. Work must be provided within 15 days. Otherwise, compensation is to be paid, and the wages are to be paid within 15 days. 100 plus 50 days. Then it is based on CPI-AL, which will be revised in future. And not only that, the amount spent on Mahatma Gandhi Narega, that is in fact between 0.3 to 0.4% of GDP. And another important aspect is, on an average, 40 to 50 days of work is being provided every year instead of 100 days. These are the important aspects about Mahatma Gandhi Narega. Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. There is drop, you can say 32% drop in Kharif 2020 in comparison to Kharif 2019 as far as Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana coverage is concerned. That means it is somewhat showing lack of interest by the states. Probably it appears center is also not interested in Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Then it covers post-harvest losses, prevented sowing. That means because of drought, if the farmer is not able to sow the seeds, or if germination is not there because of the lack of rains, it covers that also. That is the meaning of prevented sowing, most important. It covers floods, inundation like post-harvest losses. So friends, it has got comprehensive coverage. But recently some changes were made. Please do not forget another important aspect. Threshold yield, or you can say the benchmark yield, is taken as the 5 years maximum during the past 7 years. During the past 7 years, 5 years is taken, best 5 years you can say, average is taken, that is the benchmark yield or threshold yield. Based on that, how much compensation is to be paid to the farmer, that will be decided. Suppose threshold yield is this much. Based on crop cutting experiments which are done by the states, if the yield comes this much, this gap will be paid. That is the meaning of threshold yield. Then optional for loanee and non-loanee. Previously it was mandatory for loanee farmer, but now it is optional for both. Now farmers can choose the risk cover. Pick and choose mechanism is also given. Premium is restricted now to 25% of the sum insured in irrigated areas, 30% in the unirrigated areas, or you can say rain-fed areas. If the premium is greater than that, the balance is to be paid by the states. Center will bond up to 25%, or you can say if it exceeds 25%, if it exceeds 30%, that amount is to be borne entirely by the states up to 25% in the irrigated areas. Here farmer will pay 2% or 1.5% depending on the situation, Kharif or Rabi. Balance that will be shared by the center and the states equally. But if it crosses 25% in the irrigated areas, balance premium that is to be entirely borne by the states. So friends, this 25%, 30% restriction was kept last year by the government, right? So another important aspect is crop cutting experiments. Crop cutting experiments means, please do not forget, these are the experiments to get the yield, right? Based on the crop cutting experiments, yield is decided, right? And Panchayat is the unit. This is the most important aspect. For crop cutting experiment, Panchayat is taken as the unit. Then Pashu Aadhar and milk. Pashu Aadhar, this is the initiative of NDDB, please don't forget. It is a unique identification number, just like our Aadhar number. 12-digit unique identification number that will be ear tagged and that will look at animal health and milk traceability in future. As far as animals are concerned, please do not forget foot and mouth disease. Foot and mouth disease vaccination that will be for the entire animals. Please listen carefully. There is a difference between foot and mouth disease and brucellosis. Foot and mouth disease is because of virus. It is not genetic, and vaccination is for entire animals. Whereas brucellosis is concerned, it is genetic disease and this is because of bacteria. There is a vaccine for the animals, no vaccine for the human beings. And here only certain female cows of 4 to 8 years, they will be vaccinated. This is the major difference between brucellosis and foot and mouth disease. The government's idea is eliminating by 2025 and eradication by 2030. Friends, another one, please do not forget, DIDF, that is for supporting the cooperative sector in the dairies. At the same time, this is for value addition, AHIDF. When value addition is created, farmers will get better price. So friends, for value addition, AHIDF is concerned, DIDF is concerned with regard to supporting the cooperatives, right? Then coal auction policy. Friends, this is most important one. Government is going for coal auctions. Entire revenue will accrue to the states and the auctions. Whoever gets the license for the coal mining, they have to deposit certain amount towards District Mineral Foundation Fund also. Please do not forget, right? Entire revenue will go to the states. Center conducts the auctions and it is on revenue sharing basis. Please don't forget. This is the important aspect. Then 100% FDI is allowed now. Foreigners with 100% FDI, they can come and invest. Then coal imports. If you look at the coal imports, please do not forget 247 million tons up from 228 million tons 5 years ago. So friends, 5 years ago 228 million tons, now increase it to 247 million tons. This is about coal imports. But if you see during the past 10 years, they increased substantially. This is for the past 5 years. But if you take during the past 10 years, coal imports, especially thermal coal imports, increased substantially. Please do not forget. Another important aspect is out of the coal imported, coking coal accounts for around 20%. Coking coal is inevitable and CIL, that is Coal India Limited, accounts for around 80% of the coal extracted in our country, and avoidable coal imports 0 by 2023-24. That means the idea is avoidable coal imports, they should be brought down to 0 by 23-24. Of course, you cannot avoid coking coal, right friends, entire revenue will go to the coal bearing states, and commercial exploitation of coal bed methane is also allowed. This is all about coal auction policy. Friends, let us look at some science and technology and ecology and environment related issues. Tomorrow I am going to add many more. Hypersonic technology demonstrator vehicle. It uses scramjet engine. Friends, at present we are using ramjet engines. Ramjet engines, they can attain the speed, or you can say they can attain Mach 3 or so. All of you are familiar with the Mach number. And this demonstrator vehicle that attained the speed of 6 or Mach 6, that means 2 kilometers per second. In future, cruise missiles can reach hypersonic speeds. That means at present, cruise missiles, they are being launched with ramjet engines. Ramjet engines with air breathing technology. That means as the vehicle moves forward, it takes air, and friends, that reaches Mach 3, and in future this hypersonic vehicles, they can reach Mach 6. One technology demonstrator was done yesterday. Friends, another important aspect is India has done anti-satellite test, popularly known as ASAT test. Last year it was done in the month of March or so. Friends, please do not forget the existing treaty that does not prevent militarization of space. This is the unfortunate aspect, right? And it created space debris. That means as far as ASAT test is concerned, it created space debris in the low Earth orbit, and which vanished within few weeks. You need not bother about this space debris. Then no treaty to prevent militarization of space. Then space situational awareness. We discussed about Project Netra. Project Netra is basically to get space situational awareness. What is the meaning of space situational awareness? It is nothing but looking at space debris, right? And to have the realistic analysis as far as India is concerned, this Project Netra is proposed, or you can say yet present. To know about the space debris, we are dependent on NASA or other organizations. Friends, in future, we will have our own situational awareness with regard to space debris. This is the important aspect. This is Project Netra, please don't forget. Initially, it will be for the low Earth orbit. Subsequently, it will look at geostationary orbit. But in the first phase, it is intended for low Earth orbit. Please do not forget. So Project Netra is most important. And Tianwen-1 Hope Perseverance rover. Tianwen-1, that is the Mars mission of China, don't forget. Then this Hope, this is of United Arab Emirates, launched from Japan. Then this Perseverance rover that belongs to NASA, and these were launched recently because the situation is ideal for the launch of Mars missions. Then Copernicus program. Recently there is a news report that the Sentinel series of satellites, one of the Sentinel satellite will track carbon dioxide. In this context, this is into the news. Copernicus program, that is of European Union. It is several Sentinel series of satellites to observe Earth, or you can say it is Earth observation program, please don't forget. Then ecology and environment. Elephant census 2017. As per elephant census, Karnataka hosts the highest number of elephants, please do not forget. And Asian elephant is endangered. This is one important aspect, whereas African elephant, that is vulnerable, please don't forget. Asian elephant is endangered, African elephant is vulnerable. African elephants, they are around 4 lakh or so, whereas Asian elephants are around 40,000 or so. Out of the Asian elephants, around 60% or more than that are situated in India, please don't forget, and Karnataka is number 1. Then Dehing Patkai Elephant Reserve. This is into the news because of the approval for coal mining, please don't forget. Approval for coal mine. Because of that, Dehing Patkai Elephant Reserve. Yesterday we discussed about Dehing Patkai Wildlife Sanctuary. Assam government proposed for converting it into national park. Please do not forget this adjacent Devmali Elephant Reserve. This is in Arunachal Pradesh. So Devmali Elephant Reserve, this is in Arunachal Pradesh, whereas Dehing Patkai Elephant Reserve, this is in fact in Assam, don't forget. Then renewable power. Renewable power generated at present, it is hovering around 9 to 10%. Coal-based power generation, that is 75 to 80%. I am talking about power generated. If you look at the installed capacity of renewable power, that is much more than this 9-10%. It is around 20-23%, something like that, if you exclude large hydro. But recently government said large hydro will also be included under the renewable power. If it is so, then it comes to around 35% or so. But if you look at the renewable power as per the old definition, because of all the statistics are being based on the old definition, so as per that, renewable power comes to 9 to 10%. Please don't forget. And as far as renewable power is concerned, the states which are heading are Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Rajasthan. These 5 states account for 60% of the renewable power in our country. Friends, this is sea otter. This is a marine mammal. This was hunted for luxuriant fur in the 19th century, and subsequently in 1911 there is international treaty and it is the success story, and now around 1 lakh species are there. It is recently in the news, sea otter, right? Its population decreased substantially because of its hunting for its fur. But 1911 international treaty that brought back sea otters into life. Friends, there is one program of IUCN in our country, that is monitoring of illegal killing of elephants. That is MIKE, basically to reduce the man-elephant conflict. That is to give early warnings. So friends, this MIKE project, this is piloted by IUCN. Friends, please don't forget, when one looks at tigers conservation, there is M stripes. All these are important. Right friends, before concluding this lecture, let me tell you few seconds. In yesterday's editorial discussion, we talked about question hour, must for executive accountability, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana and Pashu Aadhar. These 3 things we discussed in yesterday's editorial discussion, that is on 7th September. Today it is 8th September. Today the Connect the Dots program, we are going to discuss 4 important aspects. One is wetlands, second is carbon budget and net zero, third is tipping point, fourth is Arctic pristine system. Why is it important? Right friends, please watch editorial discussion and connect the dots regularly. Editorial discussion, all of you are familiar. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, connect the dots, Tuesday and Thursday. Friends, before concluding today's lecture, let us look at some random thoughts, true or false. Here, sovereign bonds can only be issued by the center but not by the states. This is the right statement, because the sovereign bonds, you can say treasury bills, G-Secs, they can only be issued by the center. They cannot be issued by the states. States can only take the loans, and these are the state development loans or SDLs. Please do not forget. The centers, states, loans, they are managed by the Reserve Bank of India. Please do not forget. During the past decade, indirect taxes for the center are increasing faster than direct taxes. Friends, if you take during the past 10 years, during the first 5-6 years or so, indirect taxes increased faster in comparison to direct taxes. But this got reversed in recent times. During the past 3-4 years, direct taxes are increasing much faster than indirect taxes. This is the important aspect, please don't forget. As far as the center is concerned, the total taxes, direct, indirect put together, they are around 11 to 12% of GDP, whereas the total taxes for the center, states put together, that comes to around 17-18% of GDP. Please do not forget. Then insolvency and bankruptcy code is expected to deepen India's corporate bond market. That is absolutely correct, because insolvency and bankruptcy code, that revolves around exit mechanism. If proper exit mechanism is there, then naturally bond market will be deepened. Then India ratified 8 core conventions of ILO. Friends, ILO has got 8 core conventions, and these are known as foundational or human rights conventions. India ratified 6 conventions. India has not ratified Convention number 87, Convention number 98, because of the reason India puts some restrictions on the government employees. Because of that reason, India has not ratified 2 core conventions. When people are talking about foundational conventions, there are 2 core conventions. Please don't forget 87 and 98. India not ratified them. In recent times, around 2-3 years ago, India ratified 138, 182. Right, friends? These may not be that important now. Right, then ILO Convention 144 on tripartite consultations. This is part of 8 core conventions. This is wrong. In fact, this 144 tripartite convention, that is not part of the core convention or this human rights conventions, but it is one of the conventions which India ratified, but it is not part of the 8 core conventions. Then common cold viruses, SARS, MERS, provide immunity only for a few months. Friends, this is wrong. Common cold virus, that provides immunity only for a few months, but SARS, MERS, they provide immunity more than that, probably for a few years. This is the major difference. With regard to COVID, we are not sure at this juncture how long immunity will last. Then, monetization of deficit was never in existence in India. Friends, monetization of deficit is Reserve Bank of India printing the currency and giving to the central government. Central government will issue the bonds. RBI will subscribe to those bonds instead of commercial banks and insurance companies. That is monetization of deficit. And previously it was in existence, somehow discontinued around 20-25 years ago. So friends, this is wrong. Then India is the first country in the world to have taxpayers charter. Absolutely wrong. Several other countries have taxpayers charter. Recently the Prime Minister announced taxpayers charter. Mahatma Gandhi Nareka wages are revised every year based on CPI-AL by using December month index. Absolutely correct. But it is going to change as we go forward, because government announced in future a separate index will be brought. The name of the index would be CPI Rural. That will come in future. Friends, please don't forget, each and every state the wages differ. At the same time, they are revised every year from April 1 by the center based on CPI-AL. Then the final authority to declare an area to be critical wildlife habitat is Standing Committee of the National Board for Wildlife. Friends, some students raised queries. There is a difference between Standing Committee of National Board for Wildlife and National Board for Wildlife. Standing Committee of the National Board for Wildlife, that is headed by the Environment Minister, whereas National Board for Wildlife is headed by the Prime Minister. As far as critical wildlife habitat is concerned, the Standing Committee of the National Board for Wildlife, that is Union Environment Minister, he takes the final decision. Please don't forget. Or you can say finally approved by the Environment Minister, who is Standing Committee head, or you can say chairman of the Standing Committee of the National Board for Wildlife. Then more than half of rural households' income comes from farm sources. Absolutely wrong. At present, around 1/3 of the rural households' income comes from farm sources. Then the main reason for land degradation in India. Yesterday we discussed about land degradation atlas, which is released by ISRO, and India promised 26 million hectares of restoration, the degraded land that will be restored, 26 million hectares. And friends, the major reason for degradation of land in our country is water erosion. So friends, this is wrong. Water erosion. Then herd immunity is possible only with vaccination. Absolutely wrong. Herd immunity is possible because of two reasons. One is because of vaccination. Second is when antibodies are formed because of the circulation of strain in majority of the population in that area. So friends, herd immunity can be happened in two ways. This is the important aspect to note. Friends, because of lack of herd immunity, measles cases across the globe are increasing. That is predominantly because of vaccine hesitancy, or you can say improper penetration of the vaccines as far as measles are concerned. Then, during the past decade, India is inching towards balanced use of fertilizers with NPK 4:1. Friends, this is wrong. In recent times, during the past 10-15 years, in fact, this is vitiated. The ideal fertilizer usage is 4:1 NPK, but it is much higher, or you can say it is somewhere around 7:4:1, something like that. But this statement is wrong. We are not converging towards balanced use of fertilizers. This is the important aspect. NCAP is the first pollution control initiative with clear legal mandate. Absolutely wrong. This National Clean Air Program that does not have legal mandate. So therefore, this statement is wrong. Friends, we had detailed discussion today in the second module. Have a nice day. We will meet once again tomorrow. Thank you.